A dramatic scene was unfolding on the vast expanses of the Pacific Ocean. A group of aggressive orcas surrounded a helpless whale calf. The fate of the little one seemed predetermined, but an unexpected intervention changed the entire course of events. A research vessel was plowing through the waters of the Pacific Ocean early in the morning. A group of marine biologists had gone to sea to observe the migration routes of grey whales, but instead witnessed an astonishing natural phenomenon. When the first rays of the sun painted the horizon with a delicate pink light, the researchers noticed strange movement on the water. In the distance floated a lonely whale calf, clearly disoriented among the boundless ocean expanses. The ship slowly approached for a better view of the situation. The small whale showed all signs of panic and confusion. Its young age indicated the need for maternal care and nourishment. The scientists anxiously watched the little one, who circled in place and emitted prolonged sounds, similar to calls for help. The specialists determined that before them was a blue whale calf, the greatest creature on Earth. However, the mother was nowhere in sight. The team thoroughly examined the surrounding waters in search of an adult specimen, but to no avail. The little giant was left alone in the vast ocean. The scientists decided to refrain from direct contact to avoid aggravating the animal's stress, and continued observation from a respectful distance. They hoped for the swift return of the calf's mother. Time passed, but the situation only worsened. The calf persistently tried to find its mother, swimming farther from the shore. By midday, the situation became critical. The whale calf's movements noticeably slowed, and its distress calls became less frequent. The biologists understood. Without mother's milk, the chances of survival were rapidly declining. Suddenly, the water surface around the calf began to churn. A pack of orcas had discovered the vulnerable target. The predators, with their characteristic black and white coloration, began to methodically tighten the circles around the defenseless creature. The research team watched in horror as the impending tragedy unfolded, feeling completely helpless before the forces of nature. The orcas, renowned for their team hunting tactics, went on the offensive. The largest specimen attacked first, targeting the victim's tail fin. A precise strike allowed the predator to capture the calf's tail and attempt to submerge it underwater. Despite desperate resistance, the calf was clearly losing the unequal battle. Its piercing cry echoed across the water's surface, evoking deep sympathy from the observers. The little one's demise seemed inevitable. Mere minutes separated it from a tragic end, and then something amazing happened. The ocean surface churned with new force, and giant dark figures burst onto the scene of this drama. A group of humpback whales, appearing as if from nowhere, rushed to defend a whale calf of an entirely different species. The researchers froze in amazement. Humpback whales, usually trying to stay away from orcas, were now deliberately engaging in confrontation with dangerous predators. Their massive bodies broke the formation of the attackers, destroying the coordination of the attack. The water around the calf turned into a veritable theater of war. The humpbacks powerfully struck their tails against the water, creating waves of destructive force. These hydrodynamic strikes disoriented the orcas, preventing them from focusing on their initial target. But the defenders didn't limit themselves to defensive tactics. They employed enormous pectoral fins up to 5 meters long, which became real weapons in this battle. The strikes of these multi-ton appendages posed a deadly threat even to such skilled hunters. The orcas, not expecting such resistance, began to retreat. However, a pair of particularly large humpbacks didn't allow them to simply leave. The defender whales organized a pursuit, pushing the aggressors further and further from the conflict site. The scientific team aboard the vessel frantically documented every moment of this unique, natural phenomenon, recognizing the exceptional value of their observations. When the orcas finally disappeared from view, the scientists noted with relief, The whale calf had survived. It was frightened but had not sustained serious injuries. The humpback whales, having ensured the threat was eliminated, gradually dispersed. However, they did not abandon the rescued calf to its fate. One of the females approached the baby and began to carefully guide it in a certain direction. It became obvious to the biologists. She was leading it to safer waters. During the following hours, the researchers observed an amazing sight. A female humpback whale accompanying a calf of another species. She swam alongside, periodically gently nudging it, as if trying to calm it after the experienced shock. This scene was so emotional that some crew members could not hold back their emotions. Toward evening, a group of blue whales appeared on the horizon. The humpback female, as if realizing the completion of her mission, began to direct the calf toward its own kind. It created the impression of transferring custody of the little one to its biological relatives. The blue whales noticed the approaching calf and showed interest. One of the females swam closer and thoroughly examined the little one. After a brief acquaintance, she made a decision. The calf was accepted into the group, and soon they all slowly departed together. The female humpback whale observed the departing blue whales for some time, then turned and swam on her way. Her mission of mercy was complete. She had not only saved the life of a defenseless creature, but also provided it with a chance for survival. The scientists were deeply shaken by what they had witnessed. The fact of interspecies care and altruism on such a scale completely overturned established notions about the behavioral patterns of whales and the level of their emotional intelligence. In the following days, the expedition continued its planned research, but the thoughts of the participants constantly returned to the incredible rescue. The team began collecting information about similar cases, and soon discovered that the observed incident was not unique. There was documentary evidence of how humpback whales repeatedly protected not only their own kind from orcas, but also representatives of other species. This discovery raised serious questions about the motivation behind such behavior. Of particular interest was an incident recorded in Antarctic waters several years ago. Then, a humpback whale saved a seal from orcas. This extraordinary event was captured on video and caused a real sensation in scientific circles. According to witness descriptions, the seal, fleeing from pursuers, unexpectedly found refuge on a humpback whale's body, taking shelter in the depression of its massive lateral fin. Notably, instead of getting rid of the uninvited passenger, the whale actively participated in its rescue. For 20 minutes, the giant marine mammal swam on its back, keeping the seal in a safe position. The whale maneuvered, distracting the orcas from its ward until the threat passed. Only after the predators had completely disappeared did the whale carefully lower the seal back into the water. This case, like the story with the whale calf observed by the expedition, forced scientists to fundamentally reconsider their understanding of the emotional world of cetaceans. It was becoming evident that these amazing creatures are capable of significantly more complex feelings than previously thought. The research group devoted several months to analyzing the collected data and comparing them with other known incidents. Scientists concluded that only a deep sense of empathy could underlie such behavior in humpback whales. It seemed these enormous ocean inhabitants possess an innate instinct to protect the weak and vulnerable, even when dealing with representatives of completely different species. This discovery posed new fundamental questions to the scientific community about the nature of altruism in the animal world. The story of the whale rescuers received international resonance, touching the hearts of millions of people worldwide. The scientific discovery had far-reaching consequences not only for cetology, but also for public perception. Humanity began to perceive the marine giants in a new light, recognizing the complexity and multifaceted nature of these living beings. The increased public interest in whales stimulated the strengthening of conservation measures. Many countries tightened legislation on the protection of marine mammals. New marine reserves were established, and the territories of existing ones were significantly expanded. Thus, in our world, often perceived as a place of cruelty and indifference, examples of selfless care and genuine compassion emerged. And sometimes such lessons for humanity are given not by people, but by the amazing inhabitants of the ocean depths. Perhaps by continuing to study these ocean giants, we will not only expand our scientific understanding of nature, but also discover important truths about ourselves. Did you enjoy this story? Tell us your thoughts in the comments, give this video a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel to not miss new releases. See you soon.